So Lullaby was released on Soulscore on my little indie label called SMG. And it was this, about the sixth studio record I had been a part of releasing independently, anyway, without a big label. I had an investor named Timothy Sullivan, who's an awesome guy. So we did 6 studio releases, 2 live albums with my friend Matthew Kaler. It was amazing. Yeah, and I think that from what I remember, I gave it to a guy named Steve Craig, who's a DJ here. He played it on his Locals Only show on Sunday, which they always did. And they always played my music on their Locals show. For years they were doing.
Just for a little context, at this time you're probably selling a few thousand CDs.
2,000 at the most a year.
So it's like a lot of folks who are watching this with their bands or whatever.
Yeah, you're selling between 1,000 and 2,000 CDs a year, and T-shirts on top of that, and not paying taxes. I wasn't doing any of that. I was just like living. I was about as close to Slab City as I could get, without living there. I was in the van a lot, And Leslie was the program director there at 99X at the time, and she loved it. And so they called me into the office. They said, bring a box of CDs. I'm like, okay. I showed up. I was a little nervous. And she said, listen, Steve and I have been listening to this thing, and we think this thing's going to go way past our format, but we're going to start playing this song 30 times a week. And we're going to put it in heavy rotation on our station. And if you don't mind, these 30 CDs you gave me, I'm going to send all my other friends that are program directors, because I think this song is a smash. And I said, wow. And she goes, get ready, your life's about to change. And it was like, part of me is 9.5 years in. So part of me is like, yeah, okay.
Right.
Sure it is.
Because nothing ever changes. I
was already bent over from all the driving. I was already like a screwed up spine. And, I was already almost, some people would have been ready to just hang it up at that point. And now all of a sudden, your life's about to change. So for me, it actually was really scary and really exciting all at the same time. And very quickly, probably within about a month, every single record company, every single one was on my answering machine. Every single publishing company, every single management that I knew about, all the big booking agents, everything was on the answer machine that we had back then. And I remember distinctly what's his name from Arista, Clive, his assistant, his message was, this message is for Shawn Mullins. Mr. Davis has his checkbook open. That was what the message said. Mr. Davis has his checkbook open. It's unbelievable. So my life was changing real fast. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a manager, a booking agent. I'd been doing it all. Me and my girlfriend at the time, she'd help me book. That's my first wife, Kelly. And from what I recall, the bidding war, there was a bidding war. So a lot of they fell by the wayside. I hired Russell Carter as a manager. We went to kind of work to get the best deal we could, So we ended up with the 3 biggest companies in a big bidding war over this thing, because while that's happening, the song's climbing. So they're all scrambling. It's a strange position, but a really cool one to be in.
Yeah. And you can't produce CDs quick enough.
Oh, I ran out. 6,000 I printed, and it was 2 weeks just in Atlanta. It was like...
Yeah. There's people at home thinking, why don't you stay independent? And it's you can't possibly...
I ran out of money, yeah, is what happened.
Even if you can't get physically this many CDs to the stores,
right,
so you can sell them. It's just not possible.
When I wasn't getting paid quick enough from the ones that I had sold from all the stores locally, which was about 6,000, and then we were trying to get them outside of the city too. And this was all totally ourselves. You're mailing a couple of boxes to each store. And all these are indie stores too. And then we started trying to do Best Buy, but really, Leslie really and Steve made that happen, I think. And the bidding war was between it was Columbia Records, Atlantic Records, and Universal. I'd spent time with all of them, And I really liked the folks at Columbia the best, just because I liked the artists they had better too. Like I was like, okay, I could fit into this, you know.
Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash.
Yeah, Springsteen, all that, all that stuff. So Christopherson. So yeah, I'm thinking this is the right way to go, and they also did the money and got that better. So that's where we went, and I loved working with Columbia and Sony. They were great. I mean, I think after a few years, I figured out that what I really wanted wasn't what they were really wanting out of me. You know, I saw it kind of as, I imagined it to be like it would have been for Billy Joel or Bruce Springsteen or Christopherson or these guys back in the 70s that were coming up, and they would spend several records on them and let them kind of do their creative thing. And then, yeah, okay, once in a while you have a big hit or two, that's cool. And I got that. But I think they wanted to turn it into more like Train or John Mayer, or like, let's make this thing like as pop as possible. Let's make some money. Because we got money, we spent money, and they did. We made sure of it. So,
were you on the late night shows?
All of it, you know. But well, actually, I didn't get to do all of the late night shows. They went straight to Leno. So, because what you're supposed to do is Conan, then Dave, then Leno.
I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. That I didn't either. They told me later. They were like, "Yeah, well, this is what happened." They're like, first you're supposed to do, you know, Conan. And you're supposed to do CBS first, then you do NBC, or this one, and then you do NBC, and it has all to do with like who's involved with the upper echelons of like who's paying for stuff, right? It's crazy. So, but that was cool to get to do the Tonight Show. I mean, I did it 5 times in just a few years, you know. It was crazy. And he was great. And during the time that all that was blowing up for that song, I was in Europe on tour, and I'd come home from the gig or whatever, and I was watching the only thing on the TV that I could see in English, which was the Tonight Show. And I see Elton John comes on the Tonight Show and starts talking about me. Flip me out, man. Yeah. You know, I couldn't even believe it. My phone rings in the hotel room. It's the tour manager. Are you watching the Tonight Show right now? Elton John's talking about you. And that led to me getting to work with him later, which was cool, you know. So it's been kind of lucky, you know. I've been I feel like I just got lucky. I think, yeah, I wrote a good song, but there's been a lot of people who wrote good songs, you know. Right place, right time, and
I can imagine just showing up to the Grammys and wondering, like, I would feel so out of place.
Oh God.
And like,
totally.
How did
all that stuff? I felt so out of place. I felt like an old person, first of all, because it was very young. Everything's very, even the old stars, they seem young, you know. But they had like fake bleachers set up with this audience in it. It's not real. It's not a real audience. It's like, I guess they've let people just show up and they give them signs.
They find beautiful people to sit there probably.
And they're all yelling and stuff, and it's like this weird background. It's all smoke and mirrors. And I knew some of it would be. I just didn't know all of it was going to be. You know, but one of the first people that interviews me on the red carpet is Johnny Rotten, which made it better. Because, you know, he goes, "What are you wearing, lovely?" And I'm like, "I think I got this at Walmart." And he goes, "Perfect." You know, and I said, "Hey, man, I love your band." He goes, "Well, you obviously don't have very good taste, do you?" So it was awesome. And I loved that. You know, getting to do little things like that was fun. The red carpet part was weird. Everyone's like, "Look over here." You know, I didn't know anything about that stuff. My wife was really good at it. She looked great, and she was dressed to the nines, and we both were, but she looked great. Yeah. After a couple of hours, I was like, I got to get back to the hotel, you know?
Yeah.
I remember when I found out that I didn't get the Grammy from the hotel room. I remember we were watching it on TV, and I'm like, well, I know I wasn't going to get the Grammy, you know? I mean, Eric Clapton and Sting are in the lineup, you know? And, I remember telling my dad, I said, "Dad, are you watching it?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Don't feel bad, son. It's Eric Clapton." He pronounced it Clampton.
Clampton.
He goes, "Don't feel bad. It's Eric Clapton, son." awesome, you know.
Clampton's gods.
Yeah, Clampton. I've gotten the rockabye guy thing a lot. It even happened in Thailand one time at the airport. And I went to a little noodle stand. I was just there for several hours on layover. And it was right when the thing was happening. So the video was out and my face was being shown a lot. So I looked like the guy, you know. I learned very quickly that if I chopped my hair off, everything would change. And that's what I did. And it was, for me, it was personally a great move. I was not recognized anymore unless I spoke. But the hair was part of it, the look of it and everything. So I'm at this noodle stand and the guy turns around and he goes, "Holy shit, you rockabye guy." You know? I'm like, yeah, I am, you know? And
in Thailand.
Yeah. And that was wild, you know? And all that stuff fades away pretty quick if you got one big hit, and which can feel good because it's a relief and a release, but it's also like, well, maybe that's it now, you know? And what I felt like is I really wanted to get back to doing what I want, you know? Like I was raised on Bill Withers and Chris Christopherson and Ray Charles, and somehow what I was becoming was something else that I wanted to become. And yeah, that was kind of one of my regrets, was trying to figure out, should I have ever done it? Should I have ever even signed? Was there a way to keep independent like I really wanted to? Or did I do the right thing? And is it all supposed to be the way it is, you know? It's interesting.
That would be one advantage of the streaming era, is everybody could have had access to that song in that moment without the traditional distribution.
Yeah, that's right.
Since that doesn't really seem to exist anymore.
Which is really the only real job of a record company, is to manufacture the records. Like that's what they really did. They manufactured the records and got it out, right?
Yeah.
Now that's gone. I mean, they're figuring it out, I'm sure, how to get it in there still. You know, they're figuring out how to get their money, but...
Yeah. What year was this that the song...
This would have been, when I put it out independently, would have been April of 98. I got signed around June of 98.
Okay.
And then it was re-released, I believe, in September on Columbia of 98. Went gold in November, platinum in January. And, yeah, all that stuff kind of happened within that time. And then I toured, you know, and then they go, "Hey, time to get back in the studio."
Have you ever not played it live?
Only once. It was in Baton Rouge. No, not Baton Rouge. It was in Shreveport. And I didn't do it on purpose. It was a strange thing. Typically, I was on tour, and I had Clay Cook, who's now in the Zac Brown band. And he was my utility guy, play anything you put in front of him, instrument-wise. And so he was, you know, we would end with like Beautiful Wreck or something like that, maybe House of the Rising Sun, and then something that's big. But we're going to leave Lullaby, right? And you leave the stage, and you get clapped back on with an encore, except in Shreveport, they don't know this, evidently. They're not aware of this whole, like, bring them back on stage with some clapping and stand your ass up. So the clapping after a few seconds just goes away. And so me and Clay are standing backstage, and I go, "Man, I don't feel right about going back out to do the song. They didn't clap us back out. It's kind of weird, isn't it?" He goes, "Yeah, fuck them. Let's go to the bus." So we went to the, you know, we go out there. We're in the RV. One of the bus was RV. And the bus, within a few minutes, is shaking. The RV, within a few minutes, is shaking. There's people shaking this thing. They're going, "Sign my wife's T-shirt, Bubba," and yelling, and I'm in there, you know. I'm in there like trying to get high. I'm scared. I'm paranoid. No one's in there. I think Clay's gone, so I'm in there by myself. Finally, the promoter comes out, very angry. "I didn't get my song. You're not getting paid." So then Kip Connor,
My song.
yeah, I didn't get my song.
Anybody's ever toured has heard that voice before.
I didn't get my song. Y'all ain't getting paid. So then Kip Connor, my sound man / tour manager, who's 6'8", weighed about 280 at the time, shoulders about like that, you know. He just looks down and he goes, "Don't worry, he's gonna pay." And I'm like, "Well, Kip, how are we gonna get him to pay?" He goes, "I'll pick him up and upside down and shake the change out of his pockets." Well, I said, "Listen, I think the best way to do this, the whole crowd's, it's like some kind of movie. They're all around the RV." I said, "I'm gonna get out and you bring my guitar in from the club." I got the guitar and stood there with the RV door open and sang to everybody the lullaby. I sang on my head, and they all sang along, and it was the best thing that could have happened. It might have even been better that way when I look back on it. So that was the only time I never did it on stage. But I learned a powerful lesson that I don't do that. You must play that song, and I love playing that song. You know, I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. And if they stop clapping in Shreveport, it doesn't mean you can quit playing.
That's right. That just means they weren't that impressed with the last song.